Very good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to today's session on international finance. In the terms of international finance, we are dealing and understanding the concept of foreign exchange market, that is forex market. In the earlier scenario or in the earlier presentations, we have seen or dealt with different exchange rate transactions that are into existence and how is the exchange rate decided in the international market or the global world market or the overseas market. Now, today in this particular lecture, I will be focusing or we will be understanding or learning the concepts of demand and supply theory. In this particular concept of demand and supply theory with respect to the foreign exchange or the foreign currency transactions, we will be dealing and studying about the determinants by the free trade market, the role of domestic monetary authorities, and the factors determining the demand or economic growth, relative price stability, and variety of competitive goods and services which are available for exports. So the first understanding or basic conceptual background with respect to the demand and supply theory in the foreign exchange market is with respect to the determinant by the free market economy. So always we need to take into consideration and understand that the foreign exchange market or the currency transaction market is with respect to the determinants of a free market economy. Free market economy in the sense that the rates have either been regulated, governed, or controlled by the free exchange of transactions and availability of currencies in the international trade and international monetary transactions. With this particular concern, we can understand a certain concern that based on the free floating rate or a pegged rate or a floating exchange rate, the rates of currency have been determined and accordingly it has been rolled out across the globe or across the market. The role of domestic monetary authorities, yes, there is a positive role of the domestic monetary authorities such as the central bank, the World Bank, the financial institutions, the IMF, and so on. So the domestic monetary authorities at the national level and at the international level plays the important role in maintaining the demand and supply of currency in the international market. For example, in terms of Indian origin, the Reserve Bank of India, which is the central banking authority, they has to intervene and see to it that the availability of rupee currency, the availability of the dollar currency, the availability of the euro currency is at the sufficient level and proper matching or balance between the demand and supply is maintained accordingly. So the role of domestic authorities is quite positive and always in an intervening stage, wherein at every point of time they have to come forward and intervene into the international market and see to it that the transactions of the foreign exchange currency are being controlled, regulated, and governed accordingly. The various factors that determine these particular transactions or the demand and supply are the first thing is the economic growth. So at what rate your economy is growing, whether it is at an inflation stage or a deflation stage, positive assertion or negative assertion, whether the capital account shows a deficit or a surplus. So in this way, what is your rate of your economic growth? So based on the GDP level, what is the rate of the growth of economy? It has always been decided as certain, and accordingly the demand and supply theory applies. Relative price stability, the price stability with respect to your currency transaction. So at what rate the currency is now, for example, if there is a certain currency called as an rupee or euro, and in comparison to the international traded currency, that is dollar. So what is the value of rupee in comparison to dollar for the purchase and for the sell? Now, whenever I say the comparison of the currency, now, for example, if you are going to purchase a certain sum of dollar, the rate can be either 80 rupees or 82 rupees. Whereas in case of selling, if you are selling a dollar, then it can be either 79 or 78 rupees. So in this way, the relative price stability. So what are the various fluctuations of prices? What are the various fluctuations with respect to the demand and supply prices and so on? So these demand and supply variations depends on the local market and international market accordingly with respect to the availability of currency, availability of stock of the goods and services, availability of liquidity in the currency, and so on. Next thing is the composition of variety of competitive goods and services available for export. The another major perspective is with respect to the export of goods and services from the countries or in the particular economy, which directly impacts your current account balance. So your current account either deficit or surplus, it is giving you a clear understanding about the valuation of goods and services, whether they are competent into the international market or not, and in what ways it is going to benefit the world economy or the global economy. So here at this point of time, what we can understand, we can see that the price stability, the rate of the growth of economy, that is the GDP, the relative price stability, that is the demand and supply of the products, goods, services, the competitive goods and services that are available for export, that is the balance of payment crisis with respect to your capital account or the current account, the balance of payment situation with respect to the deficit or surplus. It plays an important role to understand and identify what is the demand and what is the supply theory that is needed to be applied in order to maintain the foreign exchange reserves. So now giving you an introduction about the demand and supply theory. So every nation has its own currency that we have already seen in detail. That is, as per the WTO, IMF, and World Bank norms, every country has to come forward and decide with their respective own currency. So in this way, taking at a certain example, US is having the currency as dollar, European Union is having their own currency as euro, Japan is having their own currency as Japanese yen, China is having their respective currency as Chinese yuan, and India is having their respective currency as INR, that is Indian National Rupee. Whereas Australia is having their own currency with respect to ASD, that is Australian States Dollar. So in this way, most of every current country is having its own currency. The most of the traded currency in the world, which includes the USD, that is United States Dollar, the Euro, that is EU, the Japanese yen, that is JPY, the sterling, pound sterling, that is PST, the Swiss franc, that is GSD, the Chinese yuan, that is CHY, and the Mexican peso. So these are the major traded currencies across the globe, and they are in a demand and supply. So at a particular point of time, the demand and supply forces depends on which customers, which type of customers, and what rate they are demanding and supplying the currency. So the demand and supply of currencies, it directly depends with respect to the monetary authorities that are into existence. Now, whenever I say monetary authorities, it is the central banking authority, the central bank of that particular nation, who has a certain right and authority to actually print those currencies. Now, printing those currencies in the sense, for example, in India, we have Reserve Bank of India, and it is printing the notes on behalf of the central government. So the central bank or the Reserve Bank takes a certain decision of printing of notes with respect to if a particular rupee, if a particular note of either 1 rupee, 2 rupee, 5 rupee, 10 rupee, 100 rupees, 500 rupees, or a 2000 rupees, which notes are needed to be printed. Now, how this decision of printing of notes is undertaken or decided, it is decided on the basis of demand into the international market or into the local market. So if the people of the economy are demanding more of the 500 notes, then the 500 notes will be printed. If the international economy is demanding for 2000 rupees notes, then the 2000 rupee notes will be demanded, and accordingly the notes will be printed. So there is a direct relationship between the trading of currencies, the demand and supply factors, and the monetary authorities that are into existence. Next perspective, forex trading entails the exchange of currency with another. So with the help of the forex trading market, what happened? You are available, you have a certain feasibility and a certain position with respect to exchange of currencies between the nations. So you can exchange your rupee currency, that is INR currency, with USD, with your JPY, with a CHD, with your AYD, and so on. So accordingly, you can exchange your currency with Australia, you can exchange your currency with Japan, you can exchange your currency with Russia, Swiss franc, and so on. So in this way, the forex trading transaction is being undertaken, and one currency is being exchanged with another currency. Exchange rate in many countries or markets is determined by the supply and demand of currencies, which we have already dealt and seen in detail in with respect to how the rates have been decided, how the rates have been set, and accordingly a certain percentage or a certain margin for the commission or the brokerage has been set by the respective traders. So understanding the trader's rate, what happened, a particular exchange rate has been decided. That is, we have seen in the last lecture with respect to an example of dollar, wherein in a particular market of in Europe, in France, the rate of dollar for purchase was for 78.60, whereas the rate for dollar for purchase for selling was 80.56. So in this way, the rate differs for buying and selling. So exchange rate in many countries is determined by the demand and supply of currency. Now, in another situation, in case of Australian dollar, what we have seen, the rate is quite similar or nearby to same. For example, the Australian dollar was traded at the buying rate of around 48.60, and whereas the selling rate was at 48.90. So only 0.10 paisa was a certain difference, because there is less demand for Australian dollar, and if there is a more demand for an US dollar, then accordingly the rates has been decided and the countries or the exchange currencies are being traded. Exchange rate plays a substantial role in a country's relative level in the growth of economy. So the exchange rate of a particular currency plays a substantial role. Why? Because it's directly impacting and giving you a certain picture or understanding about what is the valuation of your currency, what is the position of your currency into the international market. Now, as on today, in the terms of COVID-19, what we are seeing, the rate of rupee to dollar currency is highly fluctuating. That is, if the dollar is being traded or if the rupee convertibility is at rupees 74.30, then it keeps on fluctuating at a very frequent stage. But in last 15 days, what we are seeing, the rupee is getting stronger and the dollar is getting weaker, which means more dollar can be purchased against one single rupee. So in this way, what happened? We can determine that the substantial role of the country's relative level can be identified at a very higher stage. So whenever if the home currency or the domestic currency's value is decreasing, we are assuming or we are saying that the country's relative value is increasing. For example, take the example of USD and INR. Now, to give you a certain example of USD and INR, take a certain quotation at this particular point of time. Now, if you want to purchase one USD, the in 15 days earlier, what was the value of one USD? For purchasing one USD, you have to pay, for example, 40.30 INR. So in this way, your 40.30, 74.30 INR is equal to one USD. But after a certain point of time, when the certain norms has been changed, market position, the availability of rupee, the convertibility of rupee was quite stable. Then as on today, now this particular rate of 1 USD is equal to 74.30 INR was on, for example, 5th of August. But later on, when the economy started to grow, when the prices started to be stabilized, when the economic conditions was quite stable, the stock market, the share market, the international market forces was quite stable. Now, as on today, one US dollar, that is one USD, is equal to 72.30 INR. So in this way, what we are seeing, the value of dollar is decreasing. So value of dollar is decreasing in sense, for purchasing one USD, that is one US dollar, United States dollar, you have to only give 72.30 INR. So in this way, what happened? Your rupee convertibility, your country's relative value keeps on increasing again and again. Next perspective, a higher currency impacts the trade greatly. Yes, it is quite a positive assertion that the higher currency impacts the trade greatly. It is with respect to your certain concern that whatever may be the amount of currency that is made available with you, it directly impacts your import and export transactions. Why? Because your value of transaction gets increased or decreased accordingly. Taking the same example carried forward. Now, for example, if the transaction value for your particular concern was around, for example, 1000 US dollar, that is USD. Now, if the transaction value is 1000 USD, now in this case, what happened? What amount you have to pay in this particular concern? That is the amount that you're going to pay is 1000 multiplied by 74.30 on 5th of August. That is whatever the respective value that you will be paying at a certain point of time at a certain duration. So in this way, your transaction value will be around 74 lakh and 30,000 for a certain transaction that you are going to do. But as on today, if one USD is equal to 72.30 dollar INR, then in this case, your valuation will be 72 lakhs and 30,000. So in this way, you are saving a certain sum of money, and your valuation of currency is impacting the trade greatly. So due to this concern, what happened? There is a direct relationship, positive relationship between the valuation of a dollar and your rupee currency. And whenever the rupee currency gets decreased, we say that the country's relative level has increased. There are a number of factors that affect the demand and supply of a currency. So at this particular point of time, what we are seeing, we are understanding with the concept of demand and supply. So how the forces of demand and supply have been regulated, controlled, and governed, and we have to understand about what are the major forces with which we can understand that the demand and supply at a certain position and they have been at a stable state. So we'll look into further what are the various factors that control, govern, and regulate the demand and supply of the currency in the international market, in the global market, and in the local markets also. Now let's look at the first perspective, that is inflation. So inflation is a particular first perspective which directly impacts the demand and supply of your goods or currencies into the market. Lower inflation brings in a rising currency value. So if your rate of inflation in a particular economy is low, then automatically the currency price or the valuation of your currency increases at a substantial level. So now, for example, if as on today, the inflation rate in India is at 5.5%, then accordingly your currency value will be around 74.30. But after a point of time, when your production increases, when your supply increases, when your demand increases, when your standard of living increases, when your cost of consumption increases, when your GDP increases, what happens? Your rate of inflation comes down and it stands at around, for example, 4.5 or 4.8%. Now, when the inflation rate is reduced by 5.5 to 4.5 or 4.8, then simultaneously the price of your INR to USD also decreases simultaneously or parallelly. That is, if the earlier value for INR is 74.30 with respect to USD, it automatically gets up to 70.20 or 70.25, whatever, based on the market fluctuations, and accordingly the inflation is directly impacting the value of your currency. The purchasing power increases relatively to the other currencies. Yes, now how the purchasing power of a particular currency increases? Now, taking with this particular example, for example, on 5th of August, your valuation of 1 USD was 74.30 INR, and as on today, that is 27th of August, your valuation of 1 USD is with respect to 72.30 INR. What does it mean? Now, the clear understanding of this particular concept in reverse situation. So, 1 USD is equal to 74.30 INR, which means 74.30 INR is equal to 1 USD, right? The in reverse situation. Now, in today's scenario, that is on 27th of August, 72.30 was supposed to be 1 USD, but it is not this particular situation. So now what is the situation? 72.30 INR is equal to 1.01 or 1.05 USD. So in this way, what happened? You are getting more of additional US dollar in terms of the rupee currency, and in this way, what happened? The purchasing power of your currency increases simultaneously. That is, at the rate of 72.30. Earlier, you used to get 1 USD, but as on today, you are getting 1.01 or 1.05 USD. Clear with this particular perspectives? If you have any doubts, you can unmute yourself and ask me the questions, or you can drop the questions in the respective chat box. The next perspective, inflation depends on factors such as oil prices changes and internal factors like politics and the climate. So the inflation rate that we are looking for at this particular concern, it is directly a proportion or relation with respect to the crude oil prices that has been regulated across the group, that is into the world market or the international market, and the internal political factors, internal political, climatical, social, technological, economical, all the factors of production, all the factors of pestle analysis, it is directly impacting, and your inflation rate is been decided. So with respect to inflation, it is having a direct positive impact on the valuation of your currency. In case of high inflation level, the currency is likely to weaken. Now, it is a contradictory situation with respect to your point number 2 and point number 4. I'll give you example in this case. Now, in case of a high inflation level, how the value of currency is increasing. So take this particular example, the same example. If I believe you must be noting down whatever the values I'm quoting. So if you note the values that I'm quoting right now, that is, for example, 1 USD is equal to 74.30 and the inflation rate is 5.5%. Now, if all the factors of production, if all the factors of economy that I've quoted earlier, if it starts reducing and if it is not conducive or supportive to the general economic conditions, so what happened? So the rate that was on 5th of August, that is 1 USD, that is was 74.30 INR. Now, as on today, on 27th of August, what happened? 1 USD, the valuation of your currency automatically increases to rupees 75.80. So in this case, what happened? From 74.30, now 1 USD is equal to 75.80, which means the currency of Indian economy, the currency of INR has weakened. Now, weakened in the sense, now, for example, if you want to consider the standard base price. Now, if you consider the base price as 74.30, wherein you have taken the base date as 5th of August. Now, 1 USD is equal to 75.80 as on today. Now, if you want to convert this value as on today, that is as on 27th of August, what will be the value? The value will be 0.99 USD. It is not 1 USD, that is 0.98 or 0.99 USD is equal to 74.30 or 75.80. So in this way, your valuation of currency has been decided and the inflation rate is directly impacting the value of your currency. I hope it must be clear at this particular position. If you have any difficulty, you can drop in the questions in the chat box or you can ask me by unmuting yourself. Second perspective with respect to the demand and supply factors we are looking with it is with respect to the interest rate. A country's interest rates can rise or fall higher than the another country. So if there is a major fluctuations in the interest rates of a particular country, then it is also directly impacting the valuation of your respective home currency or the international currency. So, for example, the rates that has been decided by the Reserve Bank of India. Now, Reserve Bank of India being the central authority or the central banking system. Now, what happened? They are charging a certain rate of interest with respect to CRR, SLR, repo, and reverse repo, which is governing the liquidity of funds into the market. Now, the liquidity of funds is directly that particular proportion wherein it is needed to be taken into consideration about what amount of funds is needed to be required or to be floated into the general market perspective. So amount of funds into the market, amount of liquidity into the market is being controlled with respect to the CRR, SLR, repo, and reverse repo. Now, the government charges the certain rate of interest on the amount of CRR, SLR, repo, and reverse repo, which is a certain sum of money that is been holded by a certain banks. Now, ultimately, while doing your foreign currency for the foreign exchange transaction, the mediator of exchange of this particular currency is ultimately the banking perspective or the banking scenario. So if you want to exchange the certain goods and services with respect to your currency, then you can approach your respective bank, or if you want to remit or transfer the amount from one country to another country or transfer from one currency to another currency, then the major perspective is with respect to your banking authorities. So what does a bank do? The bank purchase and sell those currencies, and accordingly your demand and supply can be matched. But in the meantime, what happened if the CRR, SLR, repo, and reverse repo it is being changed, then the reserves with the banks and the government is not able to identify what amount of goods and services can be identified and obtained. So with this particular concern, we can understand and we can see that the inflation rates, the interest rates is directly impacting the valuation of your currency at the international level, at the global level, and at the domestic level also. The currency of the country with the lower interest rates will be sold at a very highest rate. So the currency wherein the rate of the interest of the country is quite lower. Now, how does it impact directly? This particular concern impacts directly with respect to the availability of liquidity or availability of funds into your local market. Now, the availability of funds in the local market is directly concerned with your availability of funds with the banking authorities or the banking system. So if the amount of funds available with the banking system is quite sufficient, quite conducive, then the banks can have a more sum of money with them and they can more exchange or more lend the amount of money. So the interest rate that is being charged by the banks it is directly impacting on the reserves of the bank, and the reserves of the bank that is made available, it directly impacts the holding of currency transactions at the larger scale. The other currency will be purchased to achieve with much higher return. So the other currency that you are dealing for, that you are expecting to change or exchange with the respective home currency or the domestic currency, it is directly impacting the value of your respective home currency or the domestic currency and providing you a certain higher rate of return. So in case of your decrease or increase in the share price, in case of decrease in the economic conditions, in case of your decrease or increase in the market conditions with respect to GDP, deficit or surplus in the capital account or the current account or the balance of payments, and it is having a direct impact on your returns that you are expecting on your currency transactions. In case of high demands for currency with higher interest rate, the worth of the currency will rise against other currencies. So if there is a greater demand or a higher demand for a certain currency, definitely the rate of interest on that particular currency will be much higher because it is being traded at a larger scale. So the currency which is traded at a larger scale will be in more demand, will be in more circulation, will be in more liquidity, and ultimately it will be have a higher value with respect to other currencies that are into circulation. Next perspective, higher interest rates, regardless of where you are making your transaction, guarantees the high capital flow. That is, it is having a direct relationship or direct proportion with respect to the valuation of goods and services. So valuation of goods in the sense that is, if the goods and services that have been traded in your domestic economy are of a more circulative type, that is more purchase, more transactions, more activity, more fluctuations, more circulation of goods and services are into picture, then accordingly more goods have been traded and more services can be adopted and more payment terms and conditions can be ascertained accordingly. So in this way, here the second point comes into picture that the interest rates of the economy is directly affecting or impacting the valuation of your currency or the demand and supply of currency in the international market or the global market or the domestic market. The next perspective is the third concern with respect to the political instability. So countries with a positive growth in the economy will attract more investors. A politically stable country impacts the investor decision. Now, at this particular point of time, you can take a certain case study or a certain observational point of view. Now, this particular observational point of view or a particular case study is with respect to the, you can understand a certain situation wherein you can find out a particular position with respect to a positive growth in the economy. The positive growth in the economy can be identified with respect to the availability of political conditions in an economy. Now, these particular conditions in economy can be identified with respect to the stability in government. Now, take a particular scenario or a certain case study wherein you can see or you can judge and analyze with respect to the transactions or the value of currency whenever the different governments was into existence in the Indian origin. Take a scenario of 2004, take the scenario of 2009, take a scenario of 2013, and take a scenario of 2019. So at this particular point of time, whenever there was the change of the national general elections of the India, what happened? You can see and observe that the rate of currency, the fluctuation in the prices of currency is at a very higher rate during this regime or during this region. So at this particular point of time, what you can see between 2009 to between 2013, there has been no flexibility in the rates of currency. The rate of currency, the demand and supply of currency was quite stable. Why? Because there was no political instability. The country was politically stable. Now, why we call the country as a politically stable? Because in 2004 we were having UPA government, and again in the year 2009 the same UPA government was continuing. So for further 5 years, the same policies have been adopted, same policies have been continued, same decisions have been taken, and the market is quite supportive and conducive. But in reverse situation in the year 2013-14, again when the general elections was into picture and when the NDA government came into their concern. Now what happened? Again, all the policies was being changed. Again, all the decision was being changed, and the rate of currency at this particular point of time, you can see it is having a drastic change or a difference at this particular point of time. Why? Because the country was politically unstable. Earlier, there was a situation of UPA government, and now currently there is a situation of NDA government in 2013. Now coming back to the fourth scenario of 2019. Now in terms of 2019, what happened? Again, there you can see the same situation applies of 2009. Why? Now the same situation of 2009 applies at this particular position. Why? Because there has been no certain situation wherein the UPA government is again not into existence, and again the NDA government, that is the Narendra Modi government, is into picture, and there has been certain situation that the country is expected to be politically stable. That is, one government is at a certain position, and again the same government is at its place and it is continuing its business activities or operations. So again, now for example, if you want to take the further case study, now whenever there are general elections in the year 2022 or 23, then at this particular point of time you can see and observe that again there will be political instability. Again, the prices of your currency with respect to the demand and supply, availability of currency will change, and at this particular point of time the political instability directly impacts the amount and reserves of your currency. So the demand and supply of currency is directly relational proportion with respect to your political stability in the economy also. So what happens due to this? Either the investors may lose the confidence or it may gain the confidence, and it's directly impacting the confidence in the minds of the investors also. Next perspective is the impact on, it can be assumed or it can be found out, it's with respect to the market judgment. The currency exchange rates are impacted by the imperceptible market factors. So now, what are those particular market factors? It is related or with respect to the emotions, analysis, judgment, understanding, predictions, political, economic, social, technological, cultural, climatic, all these particular factors which is directly impacting your market judgment. It is having a direct impact or direct proportion on your inflation, deflation, and valuation of currency or the demand and supply of currency in the international market or the domestic market. So with respect to the market demand and supply, so if there is a goods, if there's a demand for the international products or the foreign products or the imported goods and services is more in the international, in the local market, then at this particular point of time, what happen? Your internal currency, your home currency or the domestic currency weakens, and your international currency is creating or getting a higher sum of value. In reverse situation, if the value of currency is getting depleted or increases at a certain point of time, then at this particular point of time, what happens? The home currency gets inflated and the Western or the foreign currency gets deflated. So in this way, there is a certain difference in the price level of the products, commodities, goods and services, and ultimately it impacts your currency transaction. It is wise to always determine the market reaction. So based on the market reaction, what one has to do, one has to identify what are the determinants of a particular market, what is the market in which it has been flowing, and based on this particular concern, the price of this particular currency can be set accordingly. Lastly, there is if there is before any information on currency hits the market. So before any information is hitting a particular market, what you can do, you can make a certain analysis and judgment and find out that what a particular impact has been created on the market economy, general economy, and international economy simultaneously. So with respect to the market judgment, with respect to the demand and supply, with respect to the availability of factors of production, demand and supply of the goods and services in the local market or the international market, the rates of the products, rates of the currencies, rate of the prices, it automatically changes, and accordingly the inflation and deflation prices comes into picture. Next perspective you can see here is with respect to the government policies that are into picture. So many governments globally come along with the various varying policies that is created across the globe. So if the government policies changes very frequently, here at this point of time you can see that the rates of your currency also changes very frequently. So in the scenario of 2004, you can see the government change policies has been changed at a very higher stage. Again, in the year 2013, you can see the government policies has been changed at a very higher rate. Again, in the year 2023, you can see the government policies are supposed or expected to be changing at a certain different location. So if a particular government changes, if the policies of the government changes, if the policies of the Reserve Bank changes, then accordingly it is having a direct impact on the exchange rate. It is having a direct impact on the rates of the currencies and trading in general. So here what we can see, the central bank, the government that is into ruling, the policies, rules, regulation, guidelines that have been framed, it is directly impacting the demand and supply, the holding power, the purchasing power of a particular currency that is been into circulation or regulation in the general economy. This is in order to stabilize them at the realistic level. Now, why the government is intervening or creating a certain situation at this particular point of time? So in order to identify and find out that the prices of these particular goods and services are being stabilized and it is brought to at a realistic level. Now, what is this particular realistic level? This particular level is a particular concern wherein the goods and services are offered to our customers, or the purchasing power of a particular individual is brought at a certain level that the same price or the same quantity, same goods and services are available at the same international market level also. So in this way, the government, the policies that they are framing, they are aiming at a certain perspective that the realistic approach has been provided, wherein a proper balance between all the transactions of the goods and services can be identified, and accordingly the price can be set as per the international terms, international market conditions. Now, foreign exchange rate determination. So how you determine a foreign exchange rate and how it can be find out at a certain perspective. Foreign exchange rate is amount of domestic currency that must be paid in order to get a unit of foreign currency. So whatever the amount of domestic currency that you are giving or lending off or paying off in order to get the foreign currency is there is that particular rate, and that particular rate is called as an foreign exchange rate. According to the PPP model, that is purchasing power parity model, which we have already studied in detail, the foreign exchange rate the foreign exchange rate is determined by the relative purchasing power of the two currencies. So in order to refer the purchasing power parity model, you can refer my earlier videos and the different lectures in which you can identify and see what are the various PPP model that is into existence. Here, I've given you or quoted a certain example. So if a McDonald's burger costs rupees $1.20 in USA, and India and USA will be 100 divided by 20 is equal to 5. So $1 is equal to 5 rupees. So in this way, what we can see, we can identify that how a price of a particular product, how a rate of exchange rate can be determined, and accordingly, the price of the goods and services can be set accordingly. So if you want to purchase a particular McDonald's burger and that particular burger costs you $20 in USA, the same burger, same quality, same product will cost you in India at 100 rupees. That is INR. Now, when I say it is costing at 100 100 INR in India. And so at this particular point of time, in order to find out the exchange rate determination, what we have to do, you have to bring a certain position wherein 120 will be at par. So now this particular at par situation will be only obtained only when we can identify one single rupee or one currency denomination at a certain perspective. So $1 will be equal to 5 rupee, or $0.20 is equal to 1 rupee. So in this way, the particular dollar rate denomination can be identified, and the exchange rate determination can be set as per the needs, wants, and desires, or the conditions in the market that have been ruling. Now let's look at the various forces that are governing behind the exchange rate determination. The foreign exchange rate is the price of country, which country is in relation to some another country. So based on the demand and supply factors that are being governed, based on the availability of commodity in the market, based on the trading of activities, the demand and supply of the foreign exchange rate comes into picture, and the residents of the respective countries decide and pay for that respective product or goods and services accordingly. So if you want to purchase a certain product, either in terms of INR currency or in terms of USD currency, then accordingly, whatever the product that you are looking for, with respect to that particular product, you have to give that particular currency, and the product can be availed. Now, if you are in Indian origin and if you want to purchase the certain goods and services from India, then you have to give the currency of INR only. Now, if you are in US market, you cannot go and purchase the goods and services in terms of INR currency. In terms of your US market, you have to give USD currency only. So in this way, what happened? The forces behind exchange rate determination is the availability of commodity, the purchasing price of this particular commodity, the demand and supply of foreign exchange rate, and the expectations of the residents to purchase that commodity. So if a resident is expecting to purchase a certain commodity in European market, then in European market, he has to give that particular specific currency only, and he cannot purchase that particular value or the goods of services in terms of INR or USD or Singaporean dollar, whatever it may be. In the respective home currency or the domestic currency, the ruling country's currency or the exchange rate or the ruling country's currency only you have to give, and then only the goods and services can be exchanged or purchased. The demand for foreign exchange, that is foreign money, goes out. So when we can see that there is a demand for the foreign exchange and the foreign money is going out, foreign currency is needed to carry out the transactions in foreign countries or for the purchase of foreign goods and services, that is for imports. So if the country is importing a large number of goods and services, so at this particular point of time, what happened? Your demand of currency for the your demand for the foreign currency is much higher, and you peg your own currency, you supply your own currency in order to avail the importing of goods and services. So in this way, if there is a demand for foreign exchange, demand for foreign goods, then your home currency is being sacrificed, and you have to avail the foreign currency for payment terms and conditions. The foreign currency is needed to invest in foreign country assets, shares and bonds, or equity. So at this particular point of time, if you want to purchase any investment, if you want to do any investment or purchase the shares, bonds, or assets of any international country or the foreign country, then what you have to do, you have to avail the currency of that respective country, and you have to peg your own currency, you have to sacrifice your own currency in relation to that particular currency. So what happens at this particular point of time, your foreign currency reserves are going out of the economy, and it is directly impacting negatively to the economy. Foreign currency is needed to make transfer payments. Example, Indian parent sending money to his or son and daughters in USA. So, for example, if there is a particular Indian parent and they are sending their money to their daughters or son who are settled in USA. So at this particular point of time, what happened? The reserves of the Indian currency with respect to the dollar currency, they are being depleted, and it gets reduced accordingly if the money is going out of the economy. Whereas in case of the receipt of a particular economy, for example, if a particular person or if a particular son or a daughter, he's sending a certain sum of money from US, the money is being sent in dollar terms, but when it comes to India, it has been in receipt of an INR currency. So there is a certain reverse situation wherein the situation of either the export or either the situation of import, either the situation of remitting the money outside the India or inside the India, it is directly impacting your foreign exchange reserves. The Indian holdings money in the overseas banks. So the holding of money of the Indian authorities or the Indian peoples in the foreign banks also directly impacts the demand for foreign exchange. So greater the holdings of the money in the foreign exchange banks or the foreign Western banks, so higher will be the demand for the foreign currency accordingly. Indians traveling abroad for the tourism purpose. So if there are more number of Indian people traveling abroad for the tourism purpose, what happen? They will be sacrificing their Indian currency with respect to the foreign currency, and the purchase of foreign currency will decrease our foreign exchange reserve. So in this way, the money goes out of the particular economy. Next concern or perspective is with respect to the supply of foreign exchange. Now let's look at the second perspective with respect to the supply of foreign exchange. Now, how will the supply of foreign exchange, that the money of the foreign exchange currency will be coming into our economy? Now, if there are more exports, so if a particular export are being increased at a very higher level, then we can claim a certain condition or a certain liability or a certain clause with respect to the claiming of a certain value. Now, this particular value or the transaction value can be ascertained or taken in terms of the home currency, and we can put a certain condition. If the particular transaction is needed to be undertaken, then the transaction can be conducted in the foreign currency with respect to your either euro, dollar, yen, pound, or whatever it may be. And with respect to the exports also, the foreign currency can come into your organization or into your own economy. If the foreigners are investing in India with respect to FDI, that is foreign direct investment, or FII, foreign institutional investment, then also with respect to the Indian stock market, Indian asset market, or the bond market, with respect to FPI also, the foreign currency is coming into your market, and we are getting a good position of holding the currency of foreign exchange. With respect to the transfer payments, now if the Indians who are working outside India, that is either in Gulf countries or the European countries or in United States countries, so if they are sending the money to India, then also if the money that has been received in the Indian origin or the Indian currency, then at this particular point of time also the foreign exchange reserves get increased, and at this particular point of time the reserves are being increased at a very higher scale or a larger scale. Now, this particular example with respect to the foreign exchange rate determination, we have already seen. Now, going with the next perspective or the concept of type of exchange rate regime. The exchange now fixed exchange rate regime versus the floating exchange rate regime. Now, with respect to the exchange rate regime, in this particular concern, what you need to understand at this particular concern, the rate of exchange of a particular currency or a particular a foreign exchange, it either is fixed for a certain position, or it keeps on changing or fluctuating for after a certain position or a certain point of time. The fixed exchange rate system is a certain particular concern wherein the rate of exchange currency between two currencies remains fixed for a certain period of time. Whereas in case of floating exchange rate system, it keeps on floating or fluctuating. Now there are four types of floating exchange rate system. The first system is the adjusted peg system. Next is the crawling peg. Third is the clean floating, and next is the dirty floating. Now, what is the adjusted peg system? Now, adjusted peg system is a particular system when you are holding a certain reserves, and if the particular central bank or the Reserve Bank of India is holding a certain reserves, and if these particular reserves get exhausted, if this particular gets completed or it gets exhausted, then at this particular point of time, what happens? We have to devaluate our own currency in order to get the return of our own currency at a very higher rate. So, adjusted peg system is a particular system wherein you are either depreciating or appreciating your own currency in respect to the foreign exchange currency whenever the particular reserves gets exhausted. Crawling peg system. Crawling peg system is a particular concern wherein you either inflate or either deflate your valuation of a currency with respect to your reserve that is made available. So with respect to your reserve, whether it is been increasing, or with respect to your reserve, whether it is decreasing, you change or shift the price of your respective currencies accordingly. The clean floating system, in terms of clean floating system, you set the prices with respect to your demand and supply into the market. So if the demand for dollar increases, the price of the rupee will decrease. If the demand for dollar decreases, the price of the rupee will increase. So based on the demand and supply, alternatively or cross-functional basis, the demand and supply forces, it is directly impacting on increase or decrease in the prices of dollar and rupee currency in matching perspective. And the fourth perspective is the dirty floating system. In case of dirty floating system, what happens? There is an excessive fluctuation with respect to the central bank and the government intervention. So at this particular point of time, the government, the central bank has to come into picture, and they have to control the prices of the currencies that are into circulation, that are into existence. Now, the exchange rate management systems in India. So these are the various scenarios or the systems wherein the exchange rate system was been adopted, and how the gradual system has come into picture. So the par value system was in the year of 1974 to 1971. That is, this particular duration was called as the par value system. The PEG system was from 1971 to 1992. The period since 1991 was called as an LPG policy, that is liberalization, privatization, and globalization, in which there was LERMS, which is called as an liberalized exchange rate management system. And as on today, that is post 1993, we have market-based exchange rate regime. So these are the different types of four exchange rate regime that are into existence, and in this particular concern, we can identify and see how the exchange rate of a particular currency is determined and identified. So in this way, we come to the end of this particular chapter of foreign exchange reserves. Thank you so much for your patience listening. Thank you and good day ahead. So if you have any difficulties or any doubts with respect to this particular concern, you can drop your questions in the chat box, and I'll be able or will be free and happy to answer your respective questions. Thank you so much, and keep listening our videos accordingly. Thank you.